Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ashley and today we're going to be doing the first update for the Level Up project pan. This is a project that was created by Sofie Alexander. She was looking at her projects, specifically her eyeshadow projects, and realizing that with doing projects like pan those eyeshadows and pan in every palette, that the entirety of the palette itself wasn't getting enough love. So she kind of mushed those together with the No Pan Left Behind challenge and came up with this awesome project. Essentially, you randomize or simply choose an eyeshadow palette from your collection, and then for your level 1, you use each pan one time minimum and hit a minimum of one pan. That will then allow you to move up to level 2, where you use in a new eyeshadow palette that you've either randomized or chosen, each pan twice and hit a minimum of 2 pans, and so on and so forth. She kind of devised it with having 5 levels, saying if you want to move beyond that, you can. Otherwise, you can just move back down to level 1 and continue the project for as long as makes sense to you. So in my intro, because I know my Gemini little heart needs variety, I went ahead and selected both my level 1 and level 2 palettes, and I'm really happy that I did that. So let's go ahead and talk about where we are in this project. My level 1 palette is my BH Cosmetics Beautiful in Barcelona palette. And I'll be honest, I was very excited to roll this palette in because it's one that I think is really beautiful, but that I haven't used a ton. And this project has allowed me to really get to know this palette, and I'm really glad that it came in during this time of year because the colors in here, at least on my incredibly pasty skin, can be a little dark, to be very honest with you. So let's take a look at the palette. And as you can see glinting there, we did hit a pan in this palette, which is very exciting. So let's talk about how many times I used each of these, and then talk about kind of my overall feelings here. So I'll go ahead and scoot a little bit closer. I know the reflection is a bit there. So this first shade right here, I did use 25 times in order to hit pan. I do find that traditionally, the BH Cosmetics pans are a little bit easier to hit. This second shade right here, I used 4 times. This shade right here, I used 11 times. This shade here on the end, I used 4 times. On the next row, this shade I used 7 times. This shade, the blue, are we surprised we only used it once? This shade right here, I used twice. This shade on the end, I used 6 times. This shade right here, I used twice. This shade I used 3 times. This shade I used 7 times. This shade on the end, I used 8 times. And then each of these shadows here on the bottom row, I only used once in order to meet the stipulations of the project. So I am very happy to report that we are going to be rolling out this palette. And again, I think that the looks that I created were really nice. However, I did find that I needed to actually, where is it? I had to create kind of a custom palette to accompany this, which is this right here. And you'll notice it has a lot of light shades and dark shades. Because again, on me, these shadows, especially the mattes, are very mid-tone on me. And so I found that if I tried to use them only on the look, that it just ended up, on me at least, looking quite dark, and I just needed some additional help to kind of bring more life to the look. So I'm very glad that I've had a chance to really get to know this palette and really come to realize that for me, I need this to be a companion palette with some other things, because then I really love the looks that come out. And again, I'm so glad that I pulled this during the winter months, because if I had pulled this in the summertime or the springtime, or gosh, even maybe the fall, I would have not wanted to pull for it based on those things. So I'm very grateful that I got it during this time of year because it allowed me to be quite successful with it. So let's also talk about my level 2 palette. So this is from What's Up Makeup. What's Up Beauty rather. This is the Geodes palette. And I love this palette so stinking much. This is what we look like. So no pans as of yet. We have a couple of dips going on in here, but no pan as of yet. So I have been sort of simultaneously working a little bit less on this palette, but I have been working on it. So this first shade right here called Rock, I have used this shade 3 times. This shade next to it called Crystal, I have used once. I have not used this shade right here. This shade called Citrine, I've used this shade once. I have not used the green one, but this shade here on the end called Clay, I've used once. I've not used this shade yet, but this shade right here called Agate, I have used this one once. Redondite, I have used twice. Earth-like is one that I've used once. I've used Lava once, and this on the end is called Terra, and I've used it 3 times. So, nowhere near meeting the requirements for level 2, but again, I need a little bit more variety in my life, so I'm very glad that I drew it. And for that reason, we're also gonna go ahead and randomize my level 3 palette so that I can be playing with it as well. So this is my Tiny Decisions app. It has all of the palettes that I'm going to be including in this project. Ooh, another BH Cosmetics palette, the 1991 palette. Okay, let me go grab that and then we'll take a look at it. All right, so the BH Cosmetics 1991 palette is a collab palette that they did with Alyssa Marie. I think that's what that says. I don't actually know who that is. I bought it because I thought the color story was really pretty. So that is what it looks like in there. And it seems like it is kind of similar to like a mashup of the level 1 and level 2 palettes. So this should be a lot of fun to play with, and I'm really looking forward to it because I haven't used this palette very much. In fact, I don't think I've used it more than maybe a handful of times. So I'm very excited to work on it as well and kind of work on the 2 in tandem. So are you working on this project? I would love to know how it's going for you. I feel like I am a lot more rejuvenated this year when it comes to my project panning, and I think changing up some of the projects that I'm working on has really been responsible for that, and really just setting what at the moment seems like more attainable goals. If you have enjoyed this video, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope that you're having an amazing day, and I will see you next time. Bye.